said, excuse me, but you don't understand where I'm at. I was all around the world, on span, cross the...
All right, good evening, folks. 4/14/25. This is the MCU's Bleeding Edge with some friends to continue our live stream coverage of The Last of Us, produced by HBO Studios and put out by HBO Max. We did season 1 2 years ago. In January of 2023, we started it, and we had Andrew with us on some of those reviews. Good to have you back, Andrew. Danny, it's good to have you for the first time, brother. From Seen It Before podcast. We appreciate you, brother. With me, my co-host Cyberneticshark, veteran content creator, Andre's a pop culture guy, as always. The whole squad's here. So, first question, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good evening. We appreciate everybody that's guesting with us tonight on the Bleeding Edge. Appreciate everybody out there that supports us out there. We appreciate folks tonight that catch the show. Hopefully, everybody that's here tonight, at least somewhat enjoyed the first episode of season 2 of The Last of Us. My first question is just sort of like a throwback question. How much do you guys remember the first season? Where are you at with season 1? Kind of going into season 2, what's your vibe going into season 2 after this big kind of break that we've had since the first season came out? And I'll start with you first, Andrew. Where are you at with The Last of Us? Since it's been a long time since we covered the show the first time.
Well, I mean, just going into it, I watched the recap. The HBO starts off the episode. There's like a little recap of what kind of led us here to this point. I was just kind of wondering if they were going to be able to pull off the character for Abby. I'm curious to see how that portrayal is going to go. But yeah, I mean, I mostly remember everything. If not from the show, then at least from the video games. I played both of the video games, so I have all that that knowledge kind of stored in my head, knowing what to expect to see. What not to, we're probably not going to see this early on, and yeah, I mean, my headspace was okay, it's just gonna be a continuation. I know we had that time jump of 5 years, just like in the game, and just kind of seeing the familiar faces and new faces. I mean, the question is kind of a little vague, but I guess my headspace, I'm just okay, yeah, I'm ready for to go back into this universe again.
I'm glad you're bringing that to the table, Andrew. I value that when you did the first season with us, but having that video game knowledge, I think is great to have. I'll be interested in to hear what your thoughts are in terms of episode 1. How it did game wise. But Cyberneticshark, sir, not a massive fan of the first season of The Last of Us. What are you bringing back, sir? What did you retain from season 1 going into season 2?
How much I hated it? I mean, I once again, like I said, I was not a huge fan of the first season. There was just too much stuff in it that I thought was just stupid, and I felt it didn't pertain really well to the storyline. And I think that if you're gonna make a zombie show, make the focus zombies, not your main 2 characters be the super kind of there, and then all of a sudden let's make the one thing that makes people want to watch this, zombies, creatures, kind of second fiddle. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were a couple episodes that had some really good zombie action, some good action in it, but for the most part I found it pretty slow, pretty boring, and just a lot of unnecessary, I thought, extra stuff to add to the story. So I mean, I'm still going in trying to have a positive outlook for this second season, and but other than that, I was not really impressed by the first season.
The Last of Us does have a prodding kind of energy to it in terms of how it flows. You know what I'm saying? Which I do understand, and I recognize that. Danny, where are you at with The Last of Us going into season 2?
Well, so I actually I didn't technically play either of the games. I did watch the cinematic cuts of somebody put together all the cinematics together on YouTube. So I watched like this like basically 8-hour movie of each of them. And I think coming from the game perspective, I think I end up more on the like everything's fine end of everything, because I wasn't like playing as Joel. Wasn't playing as Ellie. I didn't like develop like I was these characters. So translating that to the first season, I thought it was really interesting to see some of the added stuff. Like I liked the kind of like different perspectives, like the newsreels, the talk show at the beginning, kind of like ominously setting this whole world up. I liked that. I mean, normally like a bottle episode, like the third episode was, it normally would annoy me with how it's structured, but I just thought it was just like you saw like an entire relationship, life and death, all kind of like a small little story inside of this little bowed package. And then moving on to the whole rest of the season, I like the kind of the episodic nature that the game kind of in story lended itself to. And like I noticed there was some things that were changed that I don't think made a lot of sense, but even like they wanted to try to make it anything they did change would make it better. And I think a couple things have backfired. But for the most part, I think the whole season, in my opinion, was like one of the better TV shows that came out that year. I mean, of course, we weren't really dealing with much good stuff at the time. But I'd say like my only big criticism from the first season would be like it just kind of ended. Like it's like the big thing happened right at the end with Joel going through the hospital. I'm like, okay, this is the big finale. It kind of felt like sudden, I guess. And they kind of established like how you're saying with like the prodding like pacing of the whole thing. But for this season, knowing what happens in the game, I think it made sense what happens that everyone was mad about, but I'm hoping that they get it right with the execution this time.
Okay.
Andres, sorry.
You're perfectly fine, sir. Andres, the pop culture guy. You are new to The Last of Us. So where are you at? I mean, you just finished watching it, the first season.
Yeah, today. So I finished episode 9. I completed 6 through 8 from yesterday, last night. And I gotta say, the first season was really good. I'm not a video game person, so I haven't really played The Last of Us, the both games. So I pretty much came here as a TV guy, and so far I really love the series. Definitely my favorite over Endor, which I'm currently binge watching for our season 2 review. And I mean, I'm into the apocalypse and zombie stuff, and I thought this show did such a good job of like that like taking those tropes and make it fresh for like our for like a new generation, and for a successful game adaptation. It's really impressive they were able to adapt it very well, because before this and Fallout and some of the more successful ones we have so far, it has been very like bad, lackluster. So I think this show did such a good job because they did such a good job of making the characters likable and like I care about them. I mean, the casting of Pedro Pascal and the actress was so good. I was very like into their arcs in first season. And yeah, I agree with you, Danny, about the finale. That's maybe the one nitpick I have to say with season 1. We're building up to this point with the hospital, and then all of a sudden, like it didn't feel like a season finale. It's kind of like, okay, here we are, and then that's it.
Bella Ramsey is the girl who plays Ellie.
Okay, yeah, Bailey Ramsey, really great. Like her, love her character as Ellie. So yeah, so that was my only nitpick and kind of negative about that series, was just really the finale. I really enjoy everything what they did with the episodes and the characters, so I was very engrossed. But yeah, so I'm very excited to talk about season 2 premiere. I just hope they stick the landing for this second season.
Yeah, 2023 was an interesting year TV wise. The Last of Us was kind of like a standout TV series, I think, for 2023. The House of the Dragon came out that year too, and I think that the first season of that was pretty good. It was better than the second season. I can tell you that. Andres did the second season, and the first season was better, I think. But yeah, The Last of Us. I had a really good time doing the reviews. I remember that. It was fun covering the first season when it came out. I can't believe it's been like so long. Like we talked about before we did the came out and went live. It's crazy to think, Andrew, that that it was literally over 2 years ago that we covered this the first time. I think the show kind of like came out of nowhere almost. It didn't have like it didn't have a massive like build up going into the show. Like there wasn't like it didn't have like like breakout trailers or anything like that, or or anything that like it kind of just it kind of just came in there kind of quiet, and came in with and I think really met and probably came up probably above expectations in terms of what they ended up doing with the show with the first season. So all right, so season 2 episode 1 of The Last of Us, the title of the episode is Future Days. It was directed by Craig Mazin, written by Craig Mazin, and essentially the way the episode starts is they have a 5-year time jump. So it's 5 years after the events of the first season. Joel and Ellie are living in Jackson, Wyoming, in this like really bustling, like pretty, pretty energetic, city, big town, a lot of like hustle and bustle, a lot of action, a lot of people, but their relationship has become strained. Which it becomes unfurled more through the episode, right? But although we kind of find out right from the jump is that there's a thaw there, between the two characters, and we see that Joel essentially is like seeing the psychotherapist Gail, who admits that she has this like serious resentment towards him for killing her husband or whatever, Eugene. Which she doesn't really completely fully explain, but like we delve into. I forget the name of the actress who plays that character, but she's
Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara, yeah.
Yeah, she's well known from like a lot of stuff in the 80s and 90s.
Beetlejuice, folks.
Yeah, Beetlejuice, yeah. So while Joel expresses his sadness concerning his relationship with Ellie, with the therapist, and confesses that he saved her. He omits and doesn't want to talk about the murders, with the Fireflies, the hospital, and all that shit that he pulled, at the end of season 1 to save Ellie, right? And Ellie doesn't know about that, right? Like she was like knocked out or whatever, so she doesn't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? He never told her, so that's kind of like a big secret, for this, I guess, going into this season, right? So essentially, we get like in the intro of the episode, we get a good feel for kind of like where the main characters are at after the time jump. That's what it's kind of about, just like season 1, The Last of Us is very, very tight, tight around its main characters, and that's the story, right? It all kind of works through them, you know what I mean? Joel and Ellie, I'll basically kind of leave it at that before we head into like them leaving out for the patrols or anything like that. There is a scene with Tommy where we see Ellie like shooting a rifle, and showing that like her marksmanship has really improved, compared to like season 1. Obviously her skills have really improved. Like she's a lot more mature, after the 5-year time jump as a character than she was in season 1. So I'm just a pop culture guy, so you can go first. What do you think of that opening first third of the episode, I guess, sir?
Okay.
Before they take off and see the bear and all the infected and all that.
Okay. Okay. This was a good second season opener. Like interjection, very well. Like just getting us back to the world of The Last of Us. If you were so gross of the universe, it was great to get back into it. And I really like. I'm not familiar with part 2, so it was really cool to see this group of fireflies that we haven't seen yet. They're probably
I'm glad you mentioned that, Andres.
Yeah, and
that's an important part of the episode.
Yeah, moving forward to this season, which we'll get into later, So we see, this character named Abby, who's a familiar actress. I forgot her name. Sorry. She's a really good actress. And you see a couple of these like leftover fireflies. There's one.
Kate Denver, I think her name is, right? Kate
Yeah,
Denver.
Caitlin Dever.
There you go.
Yeah. Caitlin Denver, great actress, playing probably our main antagonist of this series, as Abby, and she's with these other like gun firefly soldiers or whatever. You got one actress from Uncharted, the live action movie, but also from the Netflix show You, and then Danny Raymond's is in this. When I saw that, I was like, oh, look at that boy, he's in this. Yeah, so we see these characters and you see like, okay, like this is a good sequel. Like what makes a good sequel or a follow up to a series is like they're picking up what like the consequences or like the plot flare from the first season and seeing what Joe did in first season. Spoilers, you don't know, like he killed pretty much all the fireflies that were trying to make the cure for Ellie, make the cure from Ellie's blood and all that because she was immune to the the infected. And the fact that he find out that it was a very dangerous surgery, it wasn't like being taking blood. It was just like they were going to go into her brain or something like that to take something out of that. And so Joel didn't like that.
They're going to like dissect her essentially.
Yeah, dissect her, and he didn't take that well. So he basically killed all the fireflies in that building. And yeah, I was wondering like what's going to happen. Does the like other fraction of the fireflies will will hunt Joel, which we kind of see here. So that was really cool. Like that opening, and then after that, I was surprised with the time jump 5 years later, but I was kind of like, okay, let me see what they do here, and I was very happy that we see first Ellie, and seeing this like strained relationship between her and Joel was very intriguing. Obviously, I maybe we know she knows that he maybe lied to her. We'll see if they pay that off during this season, because Joel did lie to her about what happened in the first season. So I'm very curious how she's gonna find out about that, or like we're gonna do flashback between this season. So that was like really cool, and and then seeing Tommy, which I was very happy to see Tommy and his wife, and like seeing his community get kind of gotten bigger, than we saw from first season.
His wife is Rutina Wesley from True Blood.
Oh yeah, that's who she is. I did recognize her. Okay. And we see the grandson grow up, which was cool when he was when he came into the meeting about building the houses for the new visitors, right? And yeah, and then we get into some of the other new characters like the was it Dan, the somewhat love interest for Ellie. I really liked that character. I actually really liked her from this first episode because the actress is really great. You haven't seen
Dina.
Dia, thank you. So sorry. That name was so weird. Dia, that's probably my favorite character so far this episode. Because I love the actress. She played the adult version of Dora. If you've seen the movie Dora in the last whatever city
that was her.
Yeah, I don't know. And she was in Alien Romulus last year. A great horror film that I really like. So yeah, overall great opening sequence. I was very happy that we are building up the universe from first season and hopefully paying off the loose threads that we have to address, like Joel lying to Ellie and all that. So I'm very excited to get back to this universe,
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Danny, same segment or portion of the episode over to you, sir. What do you make of that introduction of episode 1?
I like the whole it's following again like how they did season 1. They're following the game for the most part, but they're changing key things that didn't work and they're improving upon it. So establishing Abby in her, I guess, section of Fireflies is going to go after Joel. Like that's their purpose. So we'll see where that's going to lead. We're setting everything up. I like the kind of mundane problem of we have so many mouths to feed. We have because our purpose is to bring people in, and like we can't build fast enough, and it's gonna. I hope that becomes a mounting problem later on. I liked Ellie's. Ellie seems a little bit more mature now. One thing I hope she's just not kind of like a rebellious brat and just has no consequences the entire season, because like just brushing off all authority and just having no consequences is really bugging me right now with her. Like her attitude is, like I thought she might have like learned that from the last season, and maybe rebelling, and maybe other people know what's better for her in certain moments. I like how Joel is, how their relationship is really strained over the 5 years, because of Joel's mounting lies, and I think that's just going to keep growing, and there's going to be resentment there, and a lot of people are writing it off as just regular teenage girl problems, but Joel knows it's something deeper, and he just can't really say it to anybody, because even with his therapist that hates him for killing her husband, he can't be honest, because he knows that he killed the one shot that everybody had to go back to the normal life, and so it's less of a internal Ellie Joel problem, and it's a more of Joel versus the world, and he knows that he can't spill that, and that's why I love the end of the first season so much, is because it's like he's doing the selfish thing, but you totally understand it on like every level. Dina, from what I remember in the game, the relationship between Dina and Ellie is like they're already dating, like they're already established, and Jesse's kind of like the himbo, friend off to the side. So I like that they're kind of showing how they got together, and it's not necessarily like Jesse's just on the side. It's more like he's kind of an integral part, and like there's like this, like, I don't want to say love triangle, but like more of like a there's going to be some hurt feelings later on that's going to add to the drama. Might add to when one of them's in a predicament, Jesse might not want to help, or there's going to be some small relational character drama there that I think they're building towards. So for the most part in this first first third of the episode, I thought it was we're building the blocks, and we're resetting or reestablishing all these characters, and I'm a sucker for time jumps and reestablishing, rediscovering everything. So I thought it was really, really good to establish here.
Okay, Cyber, what are your thoughts, sir, on that same segment of the episode? And I do want to mention, to mirror off of Andre's the pop culture guy, that yes, Joel has like a big job in the city, he's basically like the head of their construction department or some shit like that, like for the city, right? So he has like a big role that he plays, like within the government or whatever, or whatever you want to call it, like
the chancellor,
yeah,
something like that, what they call it.
Yeah, he has a big role, like in the community or whatever, like he's established that in the 5 years. Go ahead, Cyber.
All right. The beginning is okay. Nothing special, I thought. I didn't care too much for it. I mean, it establishes a little bit of, the past. Caitlin Dever, I'm glad to see her in the show. I really like her in Last Man Standing. She was absolutely funny as Tim Allen's daughter. And so seeing her face again, I was like, ooh, I haven't seen her in a while. It's great to see her in something else. And so I think that her established as Abby is a great concept. I think that Bella Ramsey sucks. I'm sorry. I think she's a horrible actress. And I think she's just as irritating as she was in the first fucking season. I just can't stand her. Isabel Merced, or Isabel Moner, as some might know her by, before she changed it to Merced. I absolutely love her. I think she's fantastic. But her being the love interest, I was just like, oh, come on. I think it's unnecessary for the show to be a series. Of course, Pedro Pascal is always fun to watch. He's always been great in The Mandalorian and other films he's been in and so forth. And, his character of Joel, I think at the beginning here is kind of hilarious. How like kind of he's trying to be more tamed. I feel, and it's almost like he's being restricted, and I'm just kind of like, what the hell is going on with this? Like, what kind of writing is this? I'm like, this is just stupid. I think the best part of this beginning section was Catherine O'Hara as the psychotherapist. She's absolutely freaking hilarious. I cracked up. I mean, that is really hilarious, and I think that it definitely will be interesting to see where else she pops up in the further episodes. But overall, I mean, the beginning of the episode is pretty regular for a Last of Us episode, and okay.
I agree. It's not anything like to like sit and talk about for 3 hours. Andrew, what do you think, sir? Give us the video game perspective, I guess, on the opening of episode 2.
Well, the way the episode starts off with we quickly we establish where we see the giraffes, so we know we're near the hospital, we're near the base from the last season. So like how we see that visual reminder of the giraffes, like, oh, okay, so this is where we're at. Now we know kind of what we have context for the scene where the fireflies are
You're right. It's a really good callback to season 1.
Yeah, and they're in front of these these 5 tombs they have, these little grave markers, and with the little firefly coins. So you go, okay, so quick visuals to kind of tell you what's going on, who's who, all that. Again, like Andres mentioned, I kind of popped off when I saw Daddy Ramirez, because I don't remember if he was announced beforehand. I didn't know he was going to be in this, but when I saw him there, I'm like, oh, there you go, there's a Falcon number 2 right there. And then and it's funny seeing Caitlin in. Because I don't know if most people know, but a lot of people were fan casting her as the original Abby before season 1 came out of the show. Like a lot of people wanted her as Ellie. So it's really funny seeing how this kind of come full circle, where now she's kind of like the antagonist of sorts, right? She's now here as this, as a threat to in the future, as we'll see in this later in the episode, to Joel and stuff. And they're kind of going over their losses. They're kind of that part is not strictly in the game. You kind of they kind of skip all that and assume we can have context for it later. So I like that they added that to the show, because I think a lot of people without this opening scene might be lost on because we're not going to see these characters until near the very end of the episode again. So I kind of like that we have some context of, they mention, one of the characters mentions so and so has a spot for us over in Seattle. That's going to be important later on. I like all the stuff they're kind of establishing here, and just her she has this raw Abby I'm talking about has this raw kind of grittiness to her that I thought wasn't gonna really come through. And luckily Caitlin she's a very good actress. She's very good in this role, because she is not built the same way as Abby. Abby is a muscular monster of a woman, and here she's much minimalized kind of in a way. And I think it kind of works well, because the audience is not going to believe that a muscular Caitlin is, I'm kind of getting a little too far ahead of myself, actually. So I'm gonna dial that back a little bit. But I love, so far, with the few minutes we've had with Abby, Caitlin as Abby, I believe her more as Abby than I do believe Bella Ramsey as Ellie, which is really funny. But I like that opening. Then we jump over to Wyoming. We see the Jackson. We see the community. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's in line with the game and everything. I find it interesting that Dina has a very good relationship with Joel, because in the game they don't really have a relationship at all. So I kind of find that interesting that Joel can just throw things at Dina, and it's a sounding board, because he can't really talk to Ellie, because Ellie kind of just brushes him off. So I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was an interesting dynamic. Kind of like how Danny mentioned about Jesse being the himbo kind of third wheel, that's pretty true. That's very true to the game. So I kind of liked good casting for Jesse. Actually, I don't know, I'm not familiar with this guy, but he definitely exudes and kind of has the dialogue of Jesse. He works it really well. So I like all that. I still like I forgot his name, but the guy who plays Tommy, I remember as Ghost Rider from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. I can't remember.
Gabriel Luna, I think.
There you go.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, I like when they're kind of doing the little pop-off session, just chatting and scoping out and just firing shots in the distance, but doing the little bullet drop thing where you hear the shot, you wait for it, and then you see the clicker take the shot. I kind of okay, all right, we got some action, we have something going on here. It's not just all dialogue, right? But yeah, I really like the opening. I was kind of thinking like, okay, what did they change? What didn't they change? And for the most part, like I think what they did change, the one big change was with like the giraffes and the fireflies. I thought that was much needed for the show because unless you played the games, you're going to have a little context missing there. So I like that they included that.
Yeah, I like the fireflies, you know, and the fact that they carried that they're bringing that over to the story for season 2. You know, they're going to continue that from season 1. I like that being brought back over. You know, they're a good piece. It makes sense that like in a apocalyptic sort of like, you know, like reality, right? Like this, like they're in, that there would be like gangs and shit like that, kind of. You know, you'd expect that to kind of happen. You know what I mean? You know, so like it kind of makes sense. You know. And it's from the games, right? So, like, you know, it's important, right? You know, like, so, like, you know, all right, well, that's good. I'm glad that there's a lot of, you know, game accuracy going on with the show. That's always good to hear. You know, we'll see if that continues. But basically, in episode 2, where we're at is where, you know, Ellie goes out, you know, like bargains with Tommy to be able to go out on patrol, right? You know, comes across that bear with all the infected, you know, dead that had like a battle, right? And then after that, her and Dina find an infected nest in a supermarket. You know, they like climb over the truck and everything and all that, and like, you know, get psyched in to like, you know, go into this building and like, you know, they listen to the sounds of like, you know, the infected and shit like that to figure out how many there are, and it kind of like, you know, gives you a sense of like where Ellie's at, kind of. Like, you know, with her combat skills and shit like that, you know, this after the 5-year time jump, you know, they show her being really advanced. Think what you want of, you know, Bella, you know, as Ellie, you know, like, they do a good job, I think, with her, kind of showing her being more, you know, kind of grown more, you know, and a lot more effective, like combat wise, you know, than she was in season 1, right? So when they go to the supermarket, you know, Ellie takes out the first, you know, like infected or whatever, right? Falls through the floor and then like runs into like a new type of infected that like silently stalks her, you know, you know, she ends up, you know, having to go in front of the council to like discuss that and talk about it, you know, in front of them, you know, what happened there, that whole incident, you know, you know, Dina's there with her and all that right in front of the council when they go back to the town or to the city. You know, so I'm going to make that like its own question right there, just that whole section. And I'll go to you first, Cyber. What do you think? That's probably like the biggest action, like, you know, section of the episode. What do you think of that whole, you know, patrol section of the episode?
I enjoyed when she fell through because I thought she was gonna die. But you know, but anyways,
no, sir, she's stronger. She's stronger than that.
I don't give a shit. Anyways, you know, so you know, when they go on patrol, of course, her and Isabel Merced are dumbasses, and like we're just gonna go fucking ahead. I was like, "Are you fucking stupid? There's zombies around. Are you an idiot?" And that just really irritated me to beyond the ends. I can't stand stupidity when it comes to this type of situation. Because if we were in that type of situation, you want to use your smarts and not be an idiot and be going gun-ho into an area that could kill you. But anyways, I digress. But, you know, I think it's funny how stupid Ellie is. The character, I don't even know how she could be a playable character in the fucking game. Half the time, I'm like, oh my god, this was just driving me nuts trying to play this game. Thankfully, I only played a demo briefly for it. I never played the actual games. So I am very thankful I haven't. Because I've seen a lot better games. Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, 6, you know. But anyways, I just think that whole section was just kind of irritating because of how stupid they were. But then when she falls through, and then we have that new creeper zombie creature, I'm like, ooh, what's this? This seems interesting. And you look at the creature, and you're like, okay, they're still kind of almost human looking, but they got like things growing out of their head and all this kind of stuff. And the person's nose was missing, so I don't know if it fell off or was ripped off or something. But I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought that new look was very interesting, and this new creature was very exciting for the episode. And seeing it like hide and stuff like that was really cool, and I like that. So that really kind of upped the episode for me a little bit, having this new creature come into the picture. And of course, anytime you see dead zombies lying around, that's always fun to see, because that's what you're watching this for. You're watching it for the zombies. And so I thought that was cool, like them making their way into the town and into the building and stuff. But yeah, when she fell through, I was like, oh, please get injured, and I'm like, God damn it, she did it. I'm like, God damn it, this is damn game. Anyways, so yeah, I thought that whole section was cool when she gets bit too. I thought that was cool, and I thought that definitely was very interesting, that new creature. Other than that, it was part of the episode, pretty much it. It wasn't anything that fantastic, but overall, I definitely agree that this was had the most excitement in the episode.
Well, maybe it's possible that some random fucking guy played that game, like, got your nose or something with that zombie chick, and like played the game and took her nose. Like, actually took it during the game, and it's gone now. Kind of like how White Vision lost his penis. You never know. So you never know, sir. The Last of Us, sir. Never know. Season 2. Okay.
So you found White Vision's penis, though. Remember, you had it. You're playing with it.
That's right. Me and Andre's the pop culture guy. We connected. We connected White Vision with his penis again. So he has his penis back. He's complete. He's complete.
Wait,
he's complete.
No, we did not. We were talking about something else, and this.
That's why they're doing that Vision Disney Plus show now, because he got his penis, so now they can do the show.
Is the penis thing, is that part of like the Ship of Theseus thing, or is it the original?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it is.
Is it really his penis? Is it the original?
It fell
really
off,
call it that?
It fell off in that battle during the WandaVision finale, and then I found it that one night during the show. Yeah, during the show, I found it behind my laptop or behind my computer. It was right there. Okay, Andrew, what are your thoughts, sir, on this super action-packed section of the episode that Cyber loves so much?
I mean, it's pretty accurate to the game, the whole them kind of going off on their own. Except in the game, I think it's just them two. They're not accompanied by the other 3 horse riders. So there's no one really kind of really trying to restrain them back anyways. So that's a little bit different. But like the encounter with the stalker, which is like the variant of a clicker that they find, that's pretty much it. What it is at least in the games, I don't know if they're going to change it for here, but in the games, that variant of like infected they find is like the halfway point between like a initial infected person and like a clicker, like the traditional clicker. Their brain hasn't fully rotted, so they are still able to, they have like still intelligence, so the kind of luring and like hiding and being quick and sneaky, that's accurate to the game. Like that character variant, or that variant of the clicker is accurate. But like they don't really appear in the first game. They start appearing more in the second game, so that kind of fits with like as time passes, like they're going to notice mutations here and there. As 5 years later, like there's new like strains or mutations. It's just the midpoint between a regular infected person and like a full clicker. It's like the chrysalis, pupa, whatever you want to call it, in between stage. So that's all it is. But
it's important, Andrew. We got to go back to that from season 1. That whole, like I've forgotten a lot about all that. Like that whole structure of how over time you become different levels of infected and all that. It's actually kind of interesting. Look like going back, but I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
No worries. I was kind of like, I was a little annoyed with one of the parts where they're trying to go through the window, and then Dina's like what, like you're gonna just let the guys do it. And I'm like, groan, kind of that kind of dialogue. So I kind of got that a little bit, but for the rest of that part, I thought like, yeah, this is pretty much how the game goes. I think there's still obviously they're adults, but I do think, especially with Ellie knowing that she's immune, she's kind of more, head hard, like she's hard headed. She's like, like even if something happens, which something does happen as we see there, it really doesn't really affect her because she's immune. So she's kind of like you guys can hold back. Like I have like this immunity that apparently no one, not even when she's talking to Tommy, I guess she's not even supposed to, like, no one other than Tommy and Joel seem to know about it. I don't even think Dina knows about it. And like she just, she kind of just to blow it in his face is like, I'm immune. She starts like shouting, kind of. It reminds me of the thing from was it Jurassic Park where Ned does the same thing? He's like, look, guys, like
Yeah.
I can't remember what the line is. I can't remember the line is. Go ahead, Andres.
I think he say like, oh, does everyone like want a soda or like something like that to go to like the vending machines, and like, but then at the same time he's doing the timer to like everything to shut down for the security for those like embryos for the dinosaurs, and it's like,
no.
What was it?
I'm talking about the part where he's with the guy with the suitcase,
oh yeah,
and he kind of blows his cover anyways because like no one cares. Yeah, he's like no one cares, right?
Dawson.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Ellie kind of does that too, where she's like, I'm immune, like again, like
he had the hat, and it's like, come on, like they don't know you, Yeah, I remember that scene.
So Ellie kind of just being, hard headed and being like, I can do this, and like I want to prove that I'm still, she doesn't like when she's gonna be on the fence. She complains how boring it is to be on the fence. So clearly she's out on this patrol. She says she's gonna take orders, like, yeah, sure, like Roger, and then she just goes off and does her own thing. That's pretty true to Ellie, I feel, for the most part, especially even a little bit in the first season, but especially now in the second season, I feel like that's just she's kind of just. I mean, they talk about it, say it's those, those years, those those late teens. It's like, yeah, I mean, cyber, like a lot of kids are stupid. Even I trust me, I work with kids all the time. I can tell you that like a lot of teenagers, they're just not. They're gonna do dumb things because, well, why not? So it is what it is.
There you go, sir. Life lessons and yeah, teenagers are teenagers. I think it doesn't really matter, like, what time, what year you're in. They're still teenagers. But Andre's a pop culture guy, sir. What are your thoughts on this middle section of the episode?
Okay. I guess I'm going to be the only person that actually liked this version of Ellie. Look, I haven't played the games. I don't know how Ellie is from the games. I thought Bailey did a really good job of what kind of character she was in the first season. And with this one, like, then he brought up how he liked the time jump and all that. And like, for me, like, I'm two minds with the time jump. Like, and I feel like maybe, I don't know, like for me, I really wanted to dress the lie that Joel did to Ellie about the Fireflies massacre.
Oh, they're going to. I mean, the Fireflies they're coming. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's gonna happen.
I know that, but I kind of wish we had something like a flashback to confirm that she knows that lie. So that we can understand a bit more why she's acting out this way. Like, I agree with everyone that it is kind of annoying to see her do these kind of silly things that teenagers do, but the same thing, she should be more smarter than that. Like, she's in the apocalypse world with zombies, I mean monsters, basically these infected. But at the same time, I do like the building relationship between her and Deneen, right? I really like how
Dina.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm getting used to the name here. Dina. I felt that they're building up their relationship very well. I mean, yeah, they're making stupid, mistakes before, but like, come on, it's a horror trope. Like, this is a horror show. You're gonna expect the horror tropes kicking in. Like, I mean, me and Jeff are doing the Walking Dead shows, and like, how many times did they do these kind of shit? The shit, tropes, and it's like, it's gonna happen. So I was not bothered by it, unfortunately, because like, this is horror 101. You had to have these characters to be in this one spot, and then you got the action, right? I gotta say, this action was pretty good. I love that we got right away the infected, which is great. And I was very intrigued. Like, I thought I was a human person. I thought I was like this, like raider. If anyone knows the raider, people, raid people, right? I thought that was like a raider, not infected. because I was like, whoa, what was that? Like, I was like, okay, this could be a raider just pretending to be like I affected, like almost like the sleepers in The Walking Dead, and I was thinking more of like that, right? But then like slowly we were kind of revealing the infected. I was like, whoa, this infected was very smart, and the idea of these infected being smart is actually a good direction, because that's something that zombies kind of do, because they can still have their intelligence. It's just like it's not functional as we are, right? So I thought that was a really great action scene, and obviously we know that she's immune, and I I thought overall the cinematography, like the production style in this movie, this show is so great. It's so spectacular. But yeah, I like that sequence, and then of course them, I like how those two had to lie to the like has a Denis had to, or the
Yeah.
what was Dion, sorry, Dion had to lie for Ellie about this news, super smart infected, and like they're this cancer is thinking maybe it could happen. They need more proof of that, which we'll see later that it kind of true later on. But yeah, I like the sequence. It was kind of cool. The one note is that Ailey had another girlfriend. Was it Kate?
Mhm.
So I'm kind of curious where we're gonna take that relationship. Because we were talking about how who was the boy's name? That chap.
Jesse.
Yeah, Justin.
Jesse.
Oh, Jesse. I'm sorry, Jesse. That's weird. Okay, sorry. Jesse. Like, I'm curious how we're gonna play with their relationship and all that, and how that's gonna go for this season. But yeah, so it's a good sequence. It's the only action scene we have so far, and I think it was worthily for this episode. So it was good.
Well, there's a lot of infected zombie shit going on too, like Walking Dead vibes and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which are pretty cool. That was
Yeah.
the Whisperer arc of Walking Dead that you were talking
Whisper.
about.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I forgot the names. That was like the Whispers.
Yeah.
Or Sleeper. Yeah, it reminded me of that. I thought they were gonna do that.
I came back to the show and watched some of that.
Yeah.
During that arc, I popped in and caught a couple of episodes during that part of
Yeah.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
You got
same
right
here.
out after that.
Yeah.
I bailed the same time when a lot of people bailed. When Negan killed off those two characters in that opening episode of season 7 or whatever it was, or whatever. That was it for me. When he killed Glenn, I was like, I'm done.
So the whole structure of that whole entire, it just makes me so mad, because it's like you're killing two characters and you want to build suspense for the next season. Why don't you just kill Abraham so we know who died at the end of season 6, and then you do the surprise in the season 7 premiere? Like, it just makes total sense to me. And then you don't have like everybody jumping ship right after that.
Yeah.
Well,
That was my thought.
So frustrating.
what are you gonna do? We're obviously we're not gonna get a crack at going back and covering The Walking Dead. Unfortunately, it's dead. It's done.
It's over.
They had a
It's over.
chance with the ones who live, and just
Well, we are going to be doing Dead City season 2 in like a couple weeks, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But Danny, what are your thoughts on that middle section of the episode, sir?
yeah, I thought it was a step up from like the last season, because what was missing a lot in the last season, like Cyber was saying, was there's just not a lot of zombies, and zombies are such a huge part of the game, and it's kind of like they weren't treated as like, we kind of like automatically went right into like the humans are the worst enemy in the apocalypse thing, and we didn't really get to see too many clicker scenes. And I kind of like this like new I was annoyed that like Ellie, like, of course, just didn't have any consequences for pretty much anything. She had like a talking to from Tommy. It's like, you can't do that, but whatever. And then I love like their whole like Dina and her like talk while they're like on their way there. She's like, so like, what's up with you and Kat? And she's like, what do you mean what's up with me and Kat? And she's like, well, she's the other one. I'm like yo. And then like but they didn't seem like they had like any kind of relationship, because like she's like the captain, and she's just like, guys, don't go off alone, can we go back? And they're like, yeah, we'll go back soon, we're just gonna check it out, this is recon too. But I also the clicker scene, I thought was really interesting because it's in that like kind of I forgot what the technical term they call them, but it's like the in between part between human and clicker, and that version is like more horrifying to me because like you still have like your intelligence. You're still aware that you're being taken over by this cordyceps in your brain. And she's kind of like maybe like begging for help, but like she obviously can't. She's just kind of like this beast now. And, seeing Ellie just kind of take out her rage on it, just like you little, fucker. And like, but it was also being smart. I was just like, this is interesting. And it sounds like they're going to go somewhere with that later on in the season. Cause like, you don't just establish like there's this new version of thinker clicker, like they're gonna go somewhere with that. I want to know if the clicker bite comes into play later, because obviously we know that Ellie's safe, but Dina doesn't know that she's immune, and nobody else does. And she kind of like later on the episode she like masks it a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if that's gonna be like if her being immune comes back and actually plays a role. And isn't just kind of like dropped like how like Jon Snow was Aegon Targaryen, like oh, okay, I guess this is a thing. But yeah, for the most part, I like the little bit of spurt of action that we had, and hopefully there's going to be more reasonable action scenes later on, and not just kind of like, here you go, this is all you get,
Yes, I'm 100% with you on that. It looks like later on in the season, there's going to be like a swarm or whatever of the infected that are going to attack the city or something like that. And
that's what they're setting up. Yeah,
I'm all in for that. You know what I'm saying? Like that seems interesting to me. Yes, Cyberneticshark, zombies without question. I gotta love the Walking Dead vibes. So, okay, to wrap up, essentially, right, put a bow on episode 1 of The Last of Us Season 2. We do see Ellie and Dina, they get back to the city, right? We do see, as Danny mentioned, we see Ellie kind of clean up the bite, with a knife. She reopens it up so she can sew it up, essentially, right? I thought that was interesting that they added that little touch of having her do that. They show her having running water and all that. So they have some infrastructure, right, in the city, like she has running water and all that. She lives in that house by herself. She's listening to Nirvana, like old school Nirvana and shit like that, like cassette tapes and shit, like really old school, She finds that People magazine in the supermarket, and she's checking it out, like thumbing through it. Jennifer Aniston's on the cover, right? From like 2001 or whatever. It's been a long time since this shit started. It was like 20 years ago or 25 years ago or whatever that this cordyceps shit started, right? So it's been a while. So they get back, and they go in front of the council and all that, like we already covered. And they have this New Year celebration or whatever, right? We see Ellie and Joel get together, briefly, and kind of, Joel grabs the guitar and goes to fix the guitar, and you can see the strain on the relationship, kind of, how short Ellie is with Joel. So they go to the New Year's celebration. Everybody's getting fucked up, right? Everybody's getting sloshed. And, and Dina and Ellie are like dancing, and they start making out right on the dance floor. They're getting their gay on, I love that, right? I don't know if they do that in the video game too or what, but
I think so, yeah.
That prompts a homophobic slur. It says in the Wikipedia, description here, from bar owner Seth. This dude Seth, he doesn't like that shit. He's like, this is supposed to be a family friendly deal or whatever. And so Joel steps in, and it's really an asshole move, and he attacks him and like pushes him on the ground. And Ellie's all pissed off and tells Joel to fuck off. She does not need his help, and Joel's all butthurt, right? It's really sad. He leaves, right? We see the infected tendrils like shooting through the roots, in the pipes or whatever, like spreading in to the city. You know what I'm saying? The infected, how they do that shit through the roots, like, they're alive or whatever like that. So they're like in there, you know what I'm saying? Like through the plumbing, right? And essentially, we pick up with Abby and her friends, the Fireflies, who have all sworn to kill Joel for the hospital massacre, right, from season 1, observing, the town, Jackson, or whatever it is, like from afar, right? So they can see the lights of the town, the city, and that's the end of the episode. Roll credits, right? Yeah. So, Andrew, I'll go back to you first, sir. What are your thoughts on that final third of the episode? And again, any video game comparisons or any thoughts you have that concerning the games?
When we get to this last part, I started thinking like, okay, we're probably gonna diverge quite a bit maybe from the game later on, because that whole thing with the roots and the tendrils going through the pipes, like that's not a thing at all in the games. And that's also because in the first season, when they show you like all those tendrils, how the infector connected to the tendrils and like those roots and stuff, like that's not a thing either at all. I guess that's how, for some reason, that's how they spread in the first season. And like in the games, it's through spores, like stuff in the air, like actual like pollen kind of stuff, like spores. So that's going to be something different that I'm not going to have any like beforehand knowledge of. So that's a new thing for me. So I'm curious to see like what's going to happen. And it seems like they're implying something's going to happen to the town, and that's not something that I know anything from the game. So I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out. Abby and the crew showing up, arriving at Jackson in the game. That's like, I think when you first see them, there's a cutscene was when they show up and they see the town in the distance. That's I think how they show up in the game adaptation. So that's par for the course. That's about right. The stuff with at the party, and then that scene that when the camera kind of pans down and just you see the back of Ellie and you see all the lights, like that's like straight out of the game. I love that they recreated that scene with she's just kind of standing there like being like a fly on the wall kind of thing, and you see all the lights around and everyone's dancing, like that's straight out of the game. So I love like they recreated that scene. Just more of her relationship problems, the tension between her and Joel, like that's all pretty accurate. She comes back to the house and Joel's on the porch. He's like tuning it. He's got his little portable heater. He's all out there, and she kind of just looks at him and just keeps walking. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. So like, I'm glad like a lot of the visual, I don't know about to say cinematography, but a lot of the stuff, the shots that they do is like, I remember that straight from the game. So like, I'm glad they kind of got a lot of those little touches in there. The making out, that's all that happens. So, but like, the thing with the roots, like that's not at all from the game. So I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with that. I'm kind of excited. I would actually hate if this was going to be just a straight up adaptation, because that means there's nothing really to surprise me. But I kind of like how there's a few things that they're kind of going off with. So like, there's a reason for fans to like watch. They're not going to be just like, oh, I already know this. So I'm kind of glad they're kind of doing that. And I'm curious to see. I'm very excited to see what they're gonna do next episode.
Yeah, they leave the story in a good place. I feel like for the first episode, at least that's what I thought. What do you think, Danny?
I'm just interested in to see, like what Andrew was saying, which is like what they're gonna do, because this is, I guess, ironically, the second game is a bit long, but it's so focused on a very like one kind of issue. And so to see all these different subplots kind of being formed, I'm interested to see where they go, because I do want to see more meat on certain people's storylines, and kind of justifying, because I know that they talked about splitting this season or this game up into 2 seasons. So that would make more sense if they're going to add more stuff, and we can kind of maybe hold on to a few characters before we lose them later on. And so the idea of, where do we start? We're at the scenes with Joel and Ellie.
Yes.
I love the idea of the metaphor with the guitar, because they bonded over that in the first game. And now the one scene that they're together in this, or well, I guess one of the scenes, he's like, they don't really look at each other, which is, I thought was interesting, but he grabs the guitar, checks the strings. Oh, they're all worn out. I'm going to go fix this for you, because that's him. And the strings are like their relationship. It's falling apart. It's kind of degrading, and he just wants to do nothing but fix it. But the way he kind of interacts saying, I'm going to fix it, he writes her off. He just closes the door. She's like, you don't have to. And then that's it. So it's like I love the subtext that they're adding in there. It's just like they're still not even communicating on the same page, and that's kind of more explicit at the New Year's scene with the I guess the homophobe, but it's like, which is like, it has its purpose, but I'm just like so annoyed. It's just like, dude, we're in the apocalypse. There's actual zombies, and your problem is gay people. Like, so, but Joel coming in there to beat the crap out of him and then make a scene, which is exactly what Ellie doesn't want, because, like Andrew said, she wants to stay a fly on the wall, and Dina already pulled her into the spotlight and made her uncomfortable, and she's like, everyone's looking at you, and she's like, no, they're looking at you because you get to do this, and so he just helps in the wrong way, and I just love that. And then from what I remember in the game, though, don't they have a talk on the porch while he's playing the guitar? Okay, so they just kind of like diverted that whole thing.
It's like a flashback though later on, though, I think.
Oh, okay. So maybe we'll see that scene later, because I thought like
you don't see that context till like later in the game. So
okay,
yeah,
that was an important scene. I'm just like, wow, we're missing this. Like, and yeah, I'm a little unclear what she knows and what she doesn't know with the whole like, I assumed, I would think the smart thing for Joel to do would just like not tell her. And because I love the end of the first season where she's like, she knows he's lying to her, and she just says, okay, I'm going to go along with this because you're my new dad. And so if we don't see the scene, if she does know, and we don't see the scene of him telling her, I think that's a huge missed opportunity. And so I just want more, I guess, more context around that. But for the most part, I think
she doesn't know. She doesn't know about what happened at the hospital. Okay,
so yeah, I want her to have like frustration of like, why won't you just fucking tell me? Like, what happened that day?
That's where that whole scene comes from in the trailer, where Ellie's all angry and she's like, "You swore," or whatever, like that's what that's all about. It's about that. It's about that secret.
I don't think she knows what he did at the hospital, but when they're leaving and, she wakes up post, slaughter, and he's like, oh yeah, they couldn't do anything about it. Turns out they have other people. They don't really need you. So I believe she knows that he's lying about her purpose, but I don't think she knows what he did at the hospital.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, she has like a half truth. Like she understands a little bit of the story. Okay. But yeah, I think it ended in a really good place. Kind of setting up what's going to happen in the next episodes. I hope with this, in my head, the storylines of Abby and the cordyceps showing up in the town, they don't really come together and mix in my head with how I think they would go. So I'm a little worried that they're going to like Daemon Targaryen her and just kind of leave her in the outskirts for like the whole season until the very end. So, but maybe they could find a way where she joins the community and infiltrates it, and like then she's like, oh my god, that's Joel or something, and then then we go from there. But I guess we'll see what happens, but I'm really excited to see where it goes.
It's like 5 episodes pass without her.
Yes. Is she still walking down the mountain? Like what?
Cyber, your thoughts, sir?
So the conclusion of the episode basically gets us to the end of the episode, which is great, which I actually love.
Yes, the end is good.
That's usually how it goes. Yes.
Yeah. So it pretty much how it ends. That whole council meeting thing after those idiots finally come back after Ellie fights off that new zombie creature. Basically, it's kind of like, it's almost like it's almost like they're a cult. I feel almost like a little bit going on there, just how they all are acting and stuff. Like their judgment is good and final and stuff like that. And I just kind of crack up, and Rutina Weasley there and Daniel Luna, or Gabriel Luna, sorry. And how they kind of were like the head honchos, kind of crack me up. And I thought that scene was interesting, but still at the same time, it was kind of like, I don't trust these people. I want to trust these people. It seems like a cult. And then, the whole the weeds and stuff growing through the pipes and stuff like that is kind of interesting. And it's kind of refreshing to have that, because I feel that kind of brings in the zombie element a little more, the monster element type of deal, and brings kind of more of that into focus. And I feel when it comes to video game adaptions, though sometimes it is necessary to go off the book from the video game. I understand that, and I understand trying to stick to the source material. But at the same time, if that added addition makes it seem better, which I feel that did, I think that was a solid choice. So I have to say that was really pretty cool. And then the other people that we saw briefly at the beginning of the episode with Caitlin Dever's character, Abby, popping up right at the end there. I thought that was really cool. Getting to see her again and her kind of cohorts, and thinking, ooh, what's gonna go down next? What are we gonna have some great fighting action soon at the compound? So that'll be interesting to see just where that goes. But the whole dance sequence, I thought that was so unnecessary to have. That just, I felt, didn't do anything for the episode. Having the rate, the gay slur or whatever you want to call it there with Robert Burke, I was like, what the hell is this? Are we trying to be 12 years old here? I mean, come on, this is just absolutely fucking stupid. So I think that whole scene should have just been cut out. It totally unnecessary. And with what's his face, Joel coming in and pushing him down on the ground and stuff. I'm like, oh god, I don't feel how that added to the story at all. I don't feel it added to this episode. I just thought that it was just basically dumb. So other than that, how it ends completely showing Abby showing up towards the area and all that kind of stuff, I thought was really solid. The roots growing through the piping was really cool. And so I think it does end off on a good note there after we get past that kind of area that just I felt didn't serve any added flavor to the episode. Otherwise, an okay ending.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Andre's a pop culture guy. Wrap us up, sir.
Sure. Yeah, I thought the ending was a good way to wrapping up the episode. Yeah, I mean, I agreed with Danny about the gay slur things. Like, we're in an apocalypse. We still have that after 5 years of jumping into the. I mean, what? I mean, I guess we still have that. That is a good question, but I mean, hey, he's from that other generation, so I mean, what do you want to say? And plus, I mean, we seen last season. I saw what was it, 8 or 7, something like that. We had a cult, religion. It still plays around the culture, after the apocalypse. So it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, it was just a way to trigger, alien, that it was inappropriate for a family event. I was like, I mean, why we still have family event? I think it should be more like a van. Like, come on, I'm happy we're we're alive with this infected. I was kind of surprised about that. Um, yeah, I do agree that I hope they do pay off this whole the strained relationship between with Ellie and Joe. I mean, from the last season, they did such a good job of giving us flashbacks or one particular episode to focus on previously from what we didn't see before. I think was a 7 or yeah when Joe got hit, we got the the background of Ailey, who she was, how we knew how she got to know how she was infected and immune, with her best friend joined the Fireflies, right? So maybe we'll get kind of that episode where we get the reveal that she does know, well, we'll probably get an episode where she feels like Joe is lying to her with something, and we'll get that maybe. Um, because they did a really good job of giving us filling up the gap between the timeline for this universe, so which is good. But yeah, overall, I gotta say a lot of you guys cover it. It was a very good, decent wrap up. I'm very intrigued about where we're gonna do with the infected, because I really like these kind of creatures. I mean, we haven't talked about what was cool about because I just wrapped up the first season. It was cool to see how the effect of these zombies are connected. It was like a neural system. That's a very unique thing with these creatures, and so you don't like. There's two things with the what do you call it, the pods or something like that. Those like things that were coming out from the pipe. That the I guess the spores, what you call it. First up, that will probably give us like a affected times people. That's always a story with these like zombie apocalypse things. Like these things will probably affect the people with their drinking water and all that. We'll probably see that. That's how we get maybe the normal, the bunch of like a big affected in the show. And then secondly, that will probably trigger a call out with all the infected, because we know that they all connected with the spores and all that, like the whole thing in the universe. So that's probably the reason all those horrors that we saw.
It's gonna make it like a beacon.
Yeah,
to the infected.
Yeah, exactly, and that could be why they're coming towards them, because we know from first season, they are attacked about noise, like almost like the Quiet Place monsters, Quiet Place monsters, where they're attracted to noise, but because they're in the mountains and they're able to get away from the infected. But now because of that will probably call them to come over this area. So that's going to be interesting. If that is true, that's actually a new way to get those horse speed there, right? And then the Abby thing, I was very happy to see that. They're there. They will probably do as typical, story where they will infiltrate the community, and then that's how they will get Joe and all that. So, I do know what happened to that part. Like I see a cutscene of what happened to Joe and like all that. I'm curious if they're gonna do that or change it up to like make it better, because I know a lot of people didn't like the way that it was executed. So I'm very curious how we're gonna play that. But yeah, overall, I'm so happy to talk with you guys for this series. I really love The Last of Us. I'm not a video game person, so I thought this was a really good like apocalypse show. So I'm very curious where we're gonna take season 2. This next 7 weeks. So
yeah, most definitely. I appreciate that, sir. And I mean, you're coming right off of your first watch of the first season, so it's no doubt that you would be right on top of it. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you tonight. Why don't we do our ratings for the episode, then we'll do our plugs and we'll get out of here. Danny, since it's your first show with us, I'll let you do the first rating for the episode. What's your 1 through 10 rating on the episode, sir?
1 through 10 rating. I'd say a 7.8. It's up there. It's like, but we didn't really see a whole lot in the way of story. I think it did its job, and it didn't do too much more legwork than it didn't exceed my expectations per se. But I think it's a very solid starting point, and there's a few things I can critique here and there, but it didn't overall ruin anything. So excited to see where it goes. But 7.8.
Okay, going back to you, Andres, pop culture guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of with it, Danny. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought this was a decent opener. Like, I was hoping for more, but the stuff we got is still really good. I think this is still top quality TV from HBO. I mean, HBO is a great channel. I don't care, Cyrus. I don't care you prefer zombies. They're infected. Well, I hope our audience don't get confused. The infected from 28 days later. But still, they're called the infected. Anyway,
like herpes, motherfucker, infected.
Oh, that's not what they are. They infected the 28 days. Anyway, sorry, I'm a 28 days later fan. Anyway, so I thought it was a good opener. I was happy to see those characters again. Joe and Ellie were a great duo for the first season, and I was very sad not to see them be the pack they were from last season. So it got me hooked. So I'm very excited to talk to this show with you guys. And Cyber is affected. Okay, the infected of Last of Us. Let's be very clear here. Not
Cyber. What's your rating for the episode 1, sir?
6. I give it a 6. and to go off the pop culture guy, I don't fucking care, bro. I'm calling them zombies. So eat that.
There you go. Just like Cyber said, take that, Andre's the pop culture guy. They're zombies, sir.
Okay.
Fuck
you, sir.
I prefer.
All right, cop. I don't swing that way.
I prefer Titan myself, but Andrew, what's your rating for episode 1, sir?
I'm at an 8 actually. I'm well, first of all, I'm pretty easy to please, and I'm very biased because I love this property, this IP. And there's nothing I felt that was egregiously kind of mishandled. I thought everything was good. Even the changes they made, I thought made sense for the show in terms of showing Abby right at the beginning and the little wire, the little cords or the little tendrils through the pipe. I'm intrigued and but nothing seems very like, oh, this is a super strong start or anything like that. It's not quite up there, but I don't think it's as bad as Cyber says. And I'm right where Danny and Andres are. I'm just a little bit higher just because I really love I love the property. I love the series. So that's where I'm at.
I think an 8 is fair. I'll give it episode 1 an 8 myself. I thought episode 1 was a pretty solid episode. As far as first episodes go for TV shows, I thought it was that what they did with it was pretty solid from start to finish. I enjoyed it. All right. Again, thank you very much to Danny. Andrew, thanks for coming back again, brother. Hopefully we'll have you back. You'll do some more Last of Us. You got to make sure you come in and do some Andor with us too. Same thing goes to you, Danny. Andres, appreciate you, sir. Cyber. Let's do our plugs and we'll get out of here. Let's start with Danny.
All right.
Danny,
you can find
Danny, you can do your plug. You can have at it, sir. I'll pull up your podcast.
Sure. Yeah. So my podcast is at Seen It Before Cast on Instagram and TikTok. You can find me personally at Instagram at Danny_Was. My letterboxed and serialized at DJ Was. It's WOS, by the way. Or my YouTube channel, which is just my name, Danny Was. So
thank you so much, Danny. We appreciate it. And obviously, we hope that you come back again sometime during The Last of Us.
Of course.
Definitely come. Make sure you come through during Andor season 2. Because
I got so much to say about that one. Oh,
I'm
so
excited. I don't doubt it. I got a lot to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a lot to say about Andor season 2 as well. The trailer looks awesome. All right, Andre's the pop culture guy.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us again. Andrew, it was great to see you again. Congrats on the marriage. I can't believe it. And Danny, it was great to see you, sir. I hope we will see each other again in future podcasts. Yes, so this is Andreas, Pop Culture Guy. Sorry about not too much content. I had like a personal family tragically, so I've been mostly posting YouTube shorts. So I just want to thank everyone for supporting me. Thank you, Jeff and Cyber, for being patient with me. And so hopefully this week and pretty much the next half month, I'll be back in my routine. So enjoyed the shorts I just posted up. Very surprising, they're doing very well. So so far I've been doing movie clips from all popular things like superhero stuff. So you see here, April is a big month for the Joker, so 85th anniversary, which is crazy. So
wow.
So posting a little bit of Joker stuff. So and not only with Heath Ledger, it'll be other versions like Jack Nicholson and all that. I just want to say thank you, Jeff, for coming yesterday for the live stream review. Me and Ham did our top ranking of the MCU phases. I'm very happy it's doing very well. So you could check that on now. We also did like reaction on certain things like the Doomsday casting announcement we did. So we discussed that a lot because that was the big thing, and a little bit of the sneak peek of Superman, but not too much. But yeah, that's so I'm going to be back full on with content for this week and pretty much the whole month. So that's where I'm at. Thank you, everyone.
That's right, and we're doing Age of Ultron next Sunday.
Yes. Yeah. In 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Next Saturday. So, but yes, in 2 weeks.
There are no strings on me.
On me, yes. Great teaser. Good teaser trailer.
Cyber.
As always, folks, if you enjoy me here on the panel or as a moderator, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark. You can find me on YouTube, which is my home base. You can also find me on TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Patreon, all those great places. As you can see there, my most recent trailer reaction there is, of course, for the live-action Leo and Stitch that's going to be coming out. Check out that trailer reaction if you haven't seen it. And also my most recent movie review is for the film Novocaine. with the great Jack Quaid in it. And, of course, Jack Nicholson's son, Ray Nicholson, is in it as well. If you haven't seen that review, definitely check that out too as well. Pretty fun, pretty good. Not too bad of a shabby of a film. As you can see, my most recent shorts is from the film Warfare. I just went and saw that today along with The Amateur. We'll be having full reviews of those up, in the future weeks. Really fun films. If you haven't seen them, go check them out now. They're in theaters. And I'll be having more content up for you guys soon. I'll be doing 2 also for the deaths of Gene Hackman and for Val Kilmer. I'll be doing best of reviews of their films for them. So keep your eyes out for those. Be starting off with the Poseidon Adventure for the amazing Gene Hackman. And then, of course, for Val Kilmer, I'll be starting off with Batman Forever. So keep your eyes out for those coming up soon. And keep on watching, keep on checking out the shorts and stuff like that. Keep on supporting all of us here, the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, and our wonderful panel as well. Go check out their content as well. And we appreciate you guys. We thank you very much, and keep on trucking.
There you go, folks. We appreciate you. If you enjoy our episodical TV recaps and our live streams, we appreciate you. Do wonderful things like follow the podcast, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate everybody coming on tonight. Great, way to come out and help us out, knock out this first episode of The Last of Us. We've got 6 more episodes to go.
I think so.
I think, yeah.
6 more episodes. It's only 7 this season.
So hopefully some good things will happen.
Thank God.
Better days.
Yes. In the meantime, thanks everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you on Wednesday for the Daredevil finale. Andre's the pop culture guy. I'll be moderating.
Yes, that's also I forgot about that. Yes, please join us on Wednesday. It'll be a fun time.
Unforgiven on Friday.
Unforgiven on Friday. All right, folks. We'll see you later. Peace.
Look at this. A transgender cop car. Look at that.